Hello, everyone. Recently, I was challenged to learn how to do forms with C Sharp's WNFs or WinForms. And so I've gone ahead and I've created a simple song display and login based WNF. So before we get started with it, let's take a look at what database we're working with behind the scenes. So it's a very simple database having just a person and song table. So first starting with the person, we just have people who can log in. So we have a username and a password. And for the songs, all we have are IDs. All we have are IDs, names, and band names, which we can sort by and look at later. We can also add and remove these from the DB as well. Now looking at the actual code, it's not that much really. It's kind of more on the visual side of things with this, but there is some. So what we're looking at is a couple of forms, and the first main form, the login form, will contain, if this form is closed, then the entire program closes. So we can use that to close the program whenever the user exits any of our forms. So this form will have children or fields of all forms that we create, and we will just be hiding and showing these as required. Now, our main form also has some coloring that I've customly added, so it changes color whether your mouse is within or without the actual form. We obviously have the exit, which allows you to close it. We have the mouse enter and exit. We have the submit button function, which is just to log in. So it just sees if your username and password are in there, binds your password. So this is technically SQLi proofed. And it just tells you if it is. If it isn't, and it gives you an error message calling this function the call error async, which just gives you a delay of 2.5 seconds and then removes an error that's put on the screen. And then we have to change colors. And we have a function to connect to the database. So our database is here. And we have the two tables created here. Pretty simple stuff. So to actually look at this, let's look at this. So we have this is what the login form looks like. It's just a simple username, password, submit, nothing too fancy. This error message only shows up when you hit submit and you either have nothing in here or your choice is not within the database. Pretty simple stuff. Moving on to the song display. All this is going to do is display within here the songs and the bands of the stuff in the database. You're also able to, because when you log in, this is the form you're taken to. You could switch to the add and remove songs locations, or you could log out and go back to the actual login form. You have two options for sorting. You could sort by the song name, which means that it's sorting ascending, I believe, so A down to Z, or sort by the band name, once again A to Z. The code for this one isn't that bad. It's actually a lot more simple. Basically, we just set the login the login form that's calling this is a parameter into this, which allows us to close it and open it when we need to. So when this window is manually shut by pressing the X button, we just close the login menu and it will forcefully end this program. Then we have the transition, which these two transition functions here. Top one allows me to go to the add form. So what we do is we clear the listing because you're going to change what's in the database if you're going to one of these, more likely than not. We hide the current form and we show the new form we're trying to display. Same goes for here, just with the remove. This one does the login stuff. Since we're not changing the database stuff, we just leave all this alone. And actually, come to think of it, this right here could be changed. So what actually this should be is this.login.show. This is, there you go, that should be fixed now. So this function here is a helper for the viewer. Basically all this will do is whenever you click on the radio button, the radio buttons are these two right here, the song and band names. And if one is checked, when one is checked, we clear the items from the list, and then we display them based on that. And so we call the connect function and just pass in the DB like that. So in this one, we are sorting by the song. If it is sort by song true, because this will be called if it's set false as well, so we only want to call it when it's true. We then call this function. We then order it by the name, and then we just put all these inside of the actual list view. There's also one here for the band name, which does the exact same thing except order by the band. And then we have our standard connection and our form close, which just calls the close program. Pretty simple stuff. Next up for the add. So for the add form, what we have is a simple give me the song name, give me the band name, hit your submit, and you can also return to your song display form. There are two messages right here on this location. Currently, you can only see the green one, but behind it there's a red one telling you that you can't add a song that's in the database already, or you can't add empty song or empty band. So looking into the code, once again, we have the login form saved here. We have the close function here when the X is pressed, the connection function here. We have the submit button, which is where you click into the submit button. So we decide this right here is where we get the text. If either of them are empty, we cause an error, which isn't actually really causing an error. It's just display an error message and then return, which stops the rest of this happening. Then we get the count. So if the count of this, as in we put in the name and band that we were given into here, if it's already in the database, meaning the count or the aggregate count is 1, then we will also call that error. Otherwise, we are free to simply insert it into the song database, or the song database table rather, and then we give it a success message, which is just the call error except flipped with the success message. And as you might also guess, the remove form is just a drop down that you can select a song from, just the song names, I believe, and you just hit submit, and if you submit properly, then you get a song successfully removed from the database. You can also just return to the previous page. So looking at this function here, once again, we have the actual login form, the close program, the connect form, and then a submit click, which basically just means give me the text that's displayed. If there's nothing there, reset the items and return it, so nothing happens. There is no error message for this aside from the success message. We also reset at the end of this, and this will just delete the song that is this. No SQLIs are possible here because we're still binding, but also because this is not a text box. This is a dropdown. Even in the case of those text box, there's no SQLIs because we're using prepared statements. It's safe. Then for the reset items, all we're really doing is just clearing the list and then adding in all of the strings from here in the ascending order of their name. Pretty basic stuff. So let's go ahead and load up this bad boy and give it a run. So one thing I'm also going to note while I'm doing this is whenever this is running, the actual scaling, if you try to scale it, it doesn't scale properly. So that's something I wanted to note real quick. So whenever your mouse goes in and out of this form, it will also flash green. This is what I was referring to by having custom color animations. This one's pretty simple. So you just enter a username and password. Let's enter a username that does not exist and a password that also does not exist. We get an error. Sweet. Either username or password is not correct, meaning we don't know which one, so try to break that, I guess. Let's actually enter a password and username combination that is in the database. So submit we now log in. This is now the song display form, and now we can view the songs and the bands of this database. So once again, by clicking into the song name or the band name, you can decide which way they are sorted. So by song name, A to Z, we start with these songs. So All That Matters by the band Skillet, all the way down to Your Betrayal by Bullet for My Valentine. These are also done by sorting by band name. So As I Lay Dying is at the top, and Trivium would be at the bottom because it's in A to Z. Obviously, the log out feature here works. Now, the page wasn't closed, or the fields here aren't being reset, so I'm able to just relog back in. These are also not being reset. However, if I go to add and return to previous, you see that this will also reset. So pretty interesting stuff there. So let's add a song to the database. So let's add, trying to think of a fun song to add. Let's add Holiday. Let's add Holiday by Green Day. Something unique that's not there currently. And you'll see song and band successfully added to the database. Now I can formally check this by sorting by the band name, looking for Green Day. Holiday is now here. Sweet. Let's remove a song from this database. Let's remove Parallels by As I Lay Dying because it is the easiest one to remove. So first off, let's try adding it again to see if we can add a duplicate song. So Parallels, I believe I've spelled this correct. Okay, so the song's already present, so then we get an error. Let's try removing it. So when we come in here, you can type into it, but we're going to come into here, and keep in mind, if you do anything like that, nothing will happen. Even though it says something was removed, technically you removed nothing because nothing existed there. The query is looking for that name, but because it doesn't exist, nothing's deleted. So it doesn't break anything if you type something into it. So now, let's remove parallels. Currently, this does not display the song's band name, something I may change in the future. So let's just remove parallels. So we submit, song removed from the database. You can also just press submit as much as you want, nothing will happen. So now let's sort by the song name, or band name rather. And as you can see, parallels is no longer at the top, meaning it is simply no longer here. Sweet. One more thing I can display is at any point for the song add form or remove forms, you can simply press X and it will exit out the program. Pretty sweet stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I actually enjoyed trying to learn new technology like this. I do have some things I still wish to learn, like how to fix the scaling, and also how to add stuff like sound to it, where you get like a notification ding, like a not that like the standard console beep that you get with C#, but some extra sounds with it, or even picture displays, etc. Yeah, I think those would be pretty neat as well. But I'll be researching this in the coming days. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys later. Peace.